What's up, everybody? I haven't been posting much this week. I wanted to drop in the 30 for 30 Tito Ortiz versus Chuck Liddell just dropped maybe 30 minutes ago. I finished a little bit of I don't know what that was. I really hope that the camera picked it up. I'm in a hotel room. I'm at the Park MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been recording bits and pieces of the day, and I'm going to upload a day in the life version on this channel as well. And not just talk about MMA. I travel a lot. I do some cool stuff every now and then, and I would like to share it with you guys. But today is going to be an MMA-related podcast or video or whatever these are. Vlogs, right? Gotta get better at this. God, I gotta get better at this. You know what? I forgot an intro, too. So, what's up, everybody? I don't know. So, look. Some really cool stuff in tonight's 30 for 34 Chuck Tito. I'm holding this today, so it's going to be a little out there. Really cool thing, man. I didn't know the full story of Chuck and being raised by his grandparents, or his grandpa. I didn't know that his father was a police officer. There's the T-Mobile arena behind me there. Tonight there's a hockey game going, but that's neither here nor there because I'm not there. Chuck's biological father was a police officer. I guess he was very abusive, and he gets emotional talking about it. He gets emotional talking about his father popping up out of the woodwork 25 years too late. And I found that part of the story very emotional for me. Emotional as in I can really relate to what Chuck was talking about. That part of his story resonated with me. I was raised by my grandparents, and I just get what he meant. So that was a really tough part for me, but I really enjoyed that. So. Yeah, for what that's worth, I really enjoyed that part. In my mind, I've always viewed it, but Ariel Helwani said it tonight on the show, that Chuck versus Tito 2 was pretty much the end of their era. That was the end of both of them in their prime. And I've always thought that way, but I wasn't able to articulate it, and then Ariel did tonight, and I was like, aha. It's that aha moment, right? But post that fight, neither one went on to do much of anything we're talking about. Tito's had some fluke wins, against Ryan Bader since then. I didn't think his performance against Forrest Griffin was great. I think in his prime he would have been better against Forrest, but Forrest was tricky, so can't take anything away from Forrest. But Chuck just went on that knockout streak. I mean, he's been knocked out every time since that Rampage Jackson. He ate big shots in Tito versus Chuck 2. If you guys remember, he got caught several times flush. And I wonder if that just took that life meter down, or if Rampage Jackson just took all the battery juice out of Liddell. I didn't like at the end how it says that Chuck is still unsure about his fighting future. At this point, man, we got to let it go. You know, we've got to be smart. We've got to think of your health and your children and your wife and your legacy. Whether, there was a clip on there where a guy asks him, what about your legacy? And he says, well, basically whatever you think of my legacy is your business, yeah, kind of, but you're tarnishing it a little bit. You're tarnishing it for all of us. To watch you lose that way, I mean, I remember they were showing clips tonight of Chuck versus Tito 1 and 2. And it brought back so many emotions. It brought me back to 2006, 2007, 2008, those early years for me. And I say early years, that's when I got back into the sport. It brought me back to that. I could feel the emotions from that fight over again. I told you in the Tito Ortiz video that I made, I think Tito's a good guy. I met him. He treated me great. So the long end of the story of it for me is I'm glad Tito got a win over Chuck. He got it over a 48-year-old man who was stuck in molasses and slow as smoke. But he still got the W. Tito said tonight, Chuck lived for 13 years knowing he beat Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz will live the rest of his life knowing that he beat Chuck Liddell. At the end of the day, a win's a win. A W's a W. Look, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. We'll take wins any way that we can get them. So I think that's Tito's mindset on this. Sure, he didn't beat the best version of Chuck, but he beat the best version of Chuck that night. The best version of Chuck that Chuck could be that night, he beat that. What can he say? Chuck got in there willingly. At the end of it, the end of this rivalry, I'm glad that Tito got one under his belt. I truly do, because I think it means that much to him. But Chuck holds the two that matter. Chuck holds the only two that any of us count. Any of us as fans, any of us as, I'll just say fans. Any of us that really just love this sport. Those of us know it's Chuck 2, Tito 1, but Chuck won the two that mattered. I hate hearing that they were both relying so heavily on that fight to make 300 pay-per-views, because it really sounded like they both needed the money, and that's awful, because they are the godfather of this sport. They really are. I think at the very end of the show, Hoist Gracie laughs and says they're the originals. Which the originals are Hoist Gracie and Ken Shamrock was the first rivalry with Bad Blood. Brendan Schaub was on ESPN tonight, and he's like, Tito and Chuck kind of started this whole dislike for each other culture that everyone uses. Ronda Rousey didn't like hers, Everyone has these bitter rivals where it's personal. John Jones, Rashad Evans was shown. Conor McGregor was just shown because anyone that he's with, Brendan Schaub was wrong. It started with Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie. They didn't like each other on their rematch. Remember that 30-minute draw that they fought to? The most eventful thing was at the end of the night, Hoist Gracie had that big mouse under his eye, and Ken Shamrock got, kicked into his kidney about 25 times. That was probably the worst part of that fight. But Brendan was wrong. That's where it started. That's why Hoist laughed and said that Chuck and Tito are remembered as originals when Ken and Hoist should be remembered as the originals, because they are. They're the original. They're the original ones that had the first. They're the first ones that rematched. They're the first ones that had the dislike for each other. That rivalry, right? Rivalry with bitterness, right? It's just no one thinks that far back. No one thinks to the UFC pre-Ultimate Fighter. That's the problem. No one does. They think with, like Hoist Gracie said, the originals, Chuck and Tito. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. That's what I think. In the meantime, let you look out here real quick. Show you the view. But that's T-Mobile. That's where UFCs are held. Sweet! Now tonight, there's hockey going on, like I said. I just don't care about hockey. I've never rode that roller coaster, and I never will. There's the Toshiba Plaza. Welcome to New York, New York sign. Yeah, man. Vegas is all right. Good news is I'm going to bed soon. Bad news is I've officially quit soda, and I've got the worst headache of my life. I'm filming this tonight because I haven't put any content out there for you guys, and I know some of you guys are really supporting me, watching my stuff, leaving likes and comments, subscribing to my channel. That means a lot to me. It means the world to me. I've always loved talking about MMA, UFC, and I've always loved it, and I've always bored my friends with it because most of my friends don't enjoy this sport. You guys let me talk about it, tell you my thoughts and opinions, and, you know, I appreciate you guys. Really, I do. As always, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. It helps. And stay tuned because this weekend, probably Saturday, I'm going to drop a day in the life. And it's kind of clips that took off from me leaving home on Sunday through a golf tournament through ACES, which is really cool. We can talk about more as I close out the video. And then kind of my days here with G2E, which is a gaming convention. Anyways, it's going to be really cool. I can't wait to drop it on you guys. Hopefully you also like the traveling aspect, because I travel, I get to go to some cool places, do some cool things, and I really want to share it with you guys. I'm really enjoying this creative content side. Once I get a little more subscribers, some traction going on this, I'm going to upgrade the camera, the microphone, hopefully try to do it big. Until then, guys, again, I really appreciate you tuning in. Let me know what you thought about the Chuck and Tito. I may do a longer video again on it, touching base on it, like a rethought or a final thought on it. But right now, my head is killing me, and this is the best I can do. Take care, guys.